We're all excited about Bitcoin hitting a new all-time high. But what if I told you that this rise might be scarier than you think? It may mean Lambos and vacations for some, but for many, it means that the market is anticipating a money printing event in a big way. Today, I'm going to break down why Bitcoin's price rise might be the beginning of tough times ahead. Stick around to the end of this video and find out why being bullish might actually be bearish. I'm Oshins. This is Beyond Bitcoin. Let's dive in. All-time highs always feel good. You wake up one morning and see that price ripping, getting texts from friends like, "Damn, I should have listened to you." And you think about how much closer you are to reaching escape velocity. But this price doesn't come without a cost. You probably know this already because you keep up with all the Bitcoin news, right? You better. But we are in the age of money printing. Did you know that 80% of all dollars in existence were printed in the last 5 years? You probably knew that, right? You better. The dollar is inflating at a rapid pace, and we have a limited time to get on the Bitcoin train. So you can say that as Bitcoin rises in value and hits new all-time highs, it's almost like Bitcoin tracks inflation flawlessly. Ding! So as these prices rise in Bitcoin and it makes its new all-time highs, it means that on the back end, that more and more dollars are being printed or are in anticipation of being printed. The higher Bitcoin goes, the more of an indicator we are getting debased, and the speed in which that is happening. You know what else Bitcoin's new all-time high tells us about the state of the economy? What's that? I'll tell you right after this shout out to sat123.com. These guys are awesome. Are you looking to shore up your survival setup? Sat123.com offers serious survival communication devices and solutions for some tough situations. When the grid goes down or everything is out, even cell towers, you'll still have a device that can reach a loved one or an outside agency. Secure your future today at sat123.com, and if you put the promo code SIMPLY, you'll get 15% off of any purchase you make, and that's a pretty good deal. Secure your future today and don't wait to prepare. Go to sat123.com. Okay, so let me tell you what I think Bitcoin's new all-time high tells us. 1. We are going to get debased faster. When Bitcoin's hitting new all-time highs starts to happen more and more frequently, it's an indicator of the speed of the print. Don't it just feel like a print is coming? 2, if more printing is coming, what does it mean for the people who don't hold their own keys? What does it mean for the no-coiners? It could be the beginnings of an accelerated loss in the quality of life. When it becomes too expensive for shelter or clean food, money is broken. Class systems arise and freedom becomes expensive. But I'm getting off topic. Here's a Michael Saylor clip while I gather my thoughts.
The problem starts with continually changing the definition of the market basket. But in my opinion, that's not the biggest problem. The more egregious problem is the fundamental idea that assets aren't products or services. Assets can't be inflated.
What's an asset?
A house, a share of Apple stock, a bond, a Bitcoin is an asset. Or a Picasso painting. So,
not a consumable good, not not an apple that you can eat.
Right. If I throw away an asset, then I'm not on the hook to track the inflation rate for it. So, what happens if I change the policy such that, let's take the classic example, $1 million bond at a 5% interest rate gives you $50,000 a year in risk-free income. You might retire on $50,000 a year in a low-cost jurisdiction. So the cost of Social Security or early retirement is $1 million when the interest rate is 5%. During the crisis of March of 2020, the interest rate went on a 10-year bond went to 50 basis points. Okay, so now the cost of that bond is $10 million. Okay, the cost of Social Security went from $1 million to $10 million. So if you wanted to work your entire life, save money, and then retire risk-free and live happily ever after on a $50,000 salary, living on a beach in Mexico, wherever you wanted to go, you had hyperinflation. The cost of your aspiration increased by a factor of 10 over the course of, some amount of time. In fact, in that case, that was like over the course of about 12 years, right? As the inflation rate ground down, the asset traded up. But the conventional view is, oh, that's not a problem because it's good it's good that the bond is highly priced because we own the bond. Or what's the problem with the inflation rate in housing being 19%? It's an awful problem for a 22-year-old that's starting their first job, that's saving money to buy a house. But it would be characterized as a benefit to society by a conventional economist who would say, well, housing asset values are higher because of interest rate fluctuation, and now the economy's got more wealth.
Buying Bitcoin today means you have a money that matches up with the rate of inflation, not what the federal funds rate says the inflation rate is. Bitcoin is an inflation meter, if you will, forever ticking upward. If you think about it, the fiat price continuing to climb will bring prosperity to few, but wealth to many. And the more you get into Bitcoin, the more you stay into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a one-way road with off-ramps.
If you had the human race doing stuff,
Yeah.
and if you ask the question, how much more efficiently will we do the stuff next year than this year? Or what's the value of all of our innovations and inventions and investments in the past 12 months? You'd be hard pressed to say we get 2% better. Typical investor thinks they're 10% better every year. So if you look at what's going on, really, when you're holding $1 million of stocks and you're getting a 10% gain a year, you really get a 7% expansion of the money supply. You're getting a 2 or 3% gain under best circumstances. And another way to say that is, if the money supply stopped expanding at 7% a year, the S&P yield might be 3% and not 10%. It probably should be. Now, that gets you to start to ask a bunch of other fundamental questions, like, if I borrow $1 billion and pay 3% interest and the money supply expands at 7 to 10% a year, and I ended up making a 10% return on a $1 billion investment paying 3% interest, is that fair? And who suffered so that I could do that? Because in an environment where you're just inflating the money supply and you're holding the assets constant, it stands to reason that the price of all the assets is going to appreciate somewhat proportional to the money supply. And the difference in asset appreciations is going to be a function of the scarce desirable quality of the assets, and to what extent can I make more of them, and to what extent are they truly limited in supply.
If you're not in Bitcoin, an all-time high could mean that you're getting deeper and deeper into debt. Bitcoin might be the only thing that could pull you out of it. Higher Bitcoin prices means higher inflation, which means higher chances of war, poverty, and corruption. A widening of the wealth gap. There will be more concentration of wealth in the hands of the few. But maybe, just maybe, the pie will grow. Bitcoin gets adopted and the wealth will spread. Buy some Bitcoin. Study Bitcoin. Do what you got to do, but whatever you do, don't get caught on the wrong side of this trade. Thank you so much for watching this show. I just want to take a moment and point out one of our sponsors, Sazmining.com. If you've started to question the system you're living in, you're not alone. But it's not enough to see the lie. You have to build the alternative. Sazmining lets you mine real Bitcoin on your terms. No trading, no middlemen, no noise. Just proof of work, straight to your wallet. They host and operate your mining rigs using 100% renewable hydro, so you're stacking sovereign sats with clean energy without lifting a wrench. This isn't passive income. It's an active exit. From fiat, from dependence, and from the lie. Book a call with one of their expert team members at sazmining.com and mine your way out of this junky system today. Thank you so much for watching this show. I'm Oshins. This is Beyond Bitcoin. If you like the channel and you want to see more content like this, why don't you hit that like button below? You can subscribe to the Simply Bitcoin channel for more content like this. We're coming out with it every single day of the week. Or you could hit that notification bell, get some updates.